All right. Now I'm going to tell you about uh, basil. Now you can use different types of basil for different types of things. Um, I got these pretty reasonable, $3 each one at Walmart. Right now it's August 2019, and they're having a big clearance sale in the garden department outside because it's going into winter. Although they do sell perennials and annuals and all that stuff normally, but like there's just nothing around. Um, I got this big dirt, 1 cubic foot for 250, 225 or 250. That's made for food and flowers, and I'm gonna use that to put these in a bigger pot. Now this is Thai basil. There's basil. There's like four different basils. There's the sweet basil, lemon basil, pepper basil, uh, and the plain Thai basil, and I think another one. The sweet basil you could find in the produce department at Walmart in plants like this for around 250, something like that. But if you're making faux soup, the optimum one to get is the Thai basil. It'll eventually have little purple flowers on it. The stalks go dark. This one's they're already starting to get dark on some of the older pieces. And this has a very odd scent to it. It's kind of like anise, which is a licorice scent, and it is that different smell and taste that is in a faux soup, or what they call pho soup. Pho, it's pronounced pho, and it's a Vietnamese soup, and very popular in Florida. You get a big giant bowl. It is a really neat thing. And what you do is when they usually serve this on the side on a plate, um, and you rip it up. I don't ever do the purple flowers, but you rip the pieces up and toss it on the top of the soup, on the broth, on the hot boiling broth. You let them float, and you keep using it as you're eating the soup to refresh the flavor, because once it's submerged, it kind of dilutes itself. Um, but that's what it's used for, and it's hard to find. Very, very hard to find. There used to be a great lady out at Valparaiso, Florida. Kim, I think her last name was Young, and she had all her stuff was very reasonable. The fresh cilantro that you use in a soup, the basil, the ginger, and she's recently closed down in 2018. I love going to her store. Now there's a store that's owned by some Arabs down in Fort Walton. And it's a little bit more expensive, and it's not as pretty a basil as she sold. But you can grow your own right now. You know, it's really cheap at Walmart to buy them. I bought these out in the garden section, about $3 each, and they're like really really dry. But I'm gonna put those in a bigger container with this special dirt, and say it's Thai basil, okay, and it loves direct sunlight, okay. So if you want to put it outside, it's really good for driving away your garden mites. It loves at least 6 hours a day of direct sunlight. Um, uh, I'm going to try putting it in the kitchen next to the window and hope that it will survive okay. Um, because I don't know if there's any particular animals that will eat this stuff rapidly. Because I would hate to get up in the morning and they're like all gone. Um, but this stuff is great, and you don't overwater it. Um, Make sure if you put it into some kind of plastic container, like you can get little buckets at the dollar store, or whatever, and put a little hole in the bottom of them so it can drain a little bit and breathe. And the more dirt you put it into, the bigger this is going to grow. Because you really use quite a bit of it, they say to just pick the ones off the top, so this gets thicker and fuller when you want to eat this stuff. I would cut it with scissors is better at an angle. But this stuff is great. And it's cheaper, of course, if you can do it in your own house instead of have to run around trying to find it at places and pay a bunch of money for just a few stalks. Because you get it like this much for like $3 and up, fresh in a baggie. At whatever store you can manage to get it at. The people from India, Arabs and that, they like to use that in their foods too. Um, it's very refreshing. It's kind of like a cinnamon licorice kind of thing. It's just real different, almost like a flower. Um, so it's a must for pho soup. And I do pho soup about once a month, and I run my broth for 1 week or 2 weeks. Uh, and the longer you cook it, the better it is. And then I use a steamer for my fresh vegetables that I want to add. And it quick steams like in 5 to 15 minutes for the vegetables. And then, I get a real nice steak or something. Uh, and I get a real thin steak, at the store, and I slice it in pieces, kind of like that. And it cooks very quickly in the faux broth. I'll like transfer some broth into a frying pan or small saucepan, about that deep, and throw my meat in. I like my meat raw. Some people can eat it like that. I can't eat it like that. Um, and I'll quick cook it for about 3 minutes, and then pour it into the bowl, and then add my veggies and all that, and it is fabulous, refreshing, great meal, especially good on a cold, rainy day, but very refreshing, invigorating type of food. If you've ever had pho soup, it's usually about $11 and up for a bowl, and some places have the big jumbo bowls, which is like 15. And all they do is add more broth to those jumbo bowls. So get the smaller bowl because you're getting a better deal. And you really don't want to keep it from a restaurant like overnight. You need to eat it that day because it's lousy if you eat it the next day. It's better really fresh. So I will do my broth in a crock pot, and leave it on warm for a week, sometimes 2 weeks. It is wonderful stuff. And then by that time I toss it out. I've tried freezing the broth at times, which that's okay, but it just tastes so good when it's fresh. But you can also use, the sweet basil with the pho soup. But this is the basil to get. This Thai basil. This is the one, the plain Thai, not Thai lemon or the other one. This is the one you want to get. It is fabulous, and it's so much cheaper to do it at your house. So I hope you enjoyed that, and go check out your local Walmart because all the garden stuff's really cheap on sale. It's about 1/4 the price for any of the plants back there. And they don't have a lot left, so hurry up and go catch that sale today. All right, and I hope you have a great one and you enjoy. Love to you. Pho soup, yes.